This video is a compilation of our trip from Counce, Tennessee to Chattanooga, Tennessee. It took us 5 days to traverse the distance between the two cities, and we went through 4 locks and had 1 lift bridge that had to be raised during our travels. Our travels took us through Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and almost Georgia. We also changed time zones during this trip from Central Time into Eastern Time. On the superimposed screenshots of the charts that I've included, you will see our track line in yellow. The blue pins represent marina options for stopping, and the orange anchors are reasonable places we considered or did stop at on our way and may stop at on our return trip back to Counce, Tennessee. On our first day, we left Grand Harbor Marina in Counce, Tennessee at 7:15 in the morning and ended our day at the Joe Wheeler State Park Marina at 4:30 p.m. Our total travel time was 9 hours and 20 minutes, and we had traveled 58.4 statute miles. We went through 2 locks today. The first was the Wilson Lock, which raised us up a surprising 94 feet. Our second lock was the Joe Wheeler Lock, which raised us a further 46 feet. It was at the Joe Wheeler that we met up with our friends from out of the blue who would be making this journey to Chattanooga with us. We departed on our second day at 10:30 in the morning from Joe Wheeler State Park, arriving at Ditto Landing near Huntsville, Alabama at 5 p.m. with our friends from out of the blue. This journey was 55.8 statute miles and took us around 6.5 hours to complete. We had no locks today, but had a train lift bridge at around mile 304. This bridge was called the Norfolk Southern Tennessee Bridge, but they preferred to be referred to as the Decatur Drawbridge when you're hailing them. Upon arrival, we had to wait for a train, which was interesting and really didn't hold us up very much at all.
Having a great journey down there.
Y'all have a wonderful day ahead of me.
On our third day, we left Ditto Landing at 9 a.m. in the morning, traversing 40.1 statute miles through to Goose Pond Marina by 4:15 for a total travel time of around 7 hours and 15 minutes. We had one lock to traverse that day. The Guntersville Lock was close to mile marker 350 and lifted us 45 feet. This was a challenging lock for us as there was a lot of current in the lock that kept swinging our stern away from the wall, despite having both a stern and midship line secured to the bollard. It was a bit of a hair-raising experience making our way into the marina at the end of the day as we went through a lot of grass and shallow water. But we made it to the marina without drama. We went out for dinner that night at a local diner called The Docks that was within walking distance of the marina and was a nice break from cooking and barbecuing. Our fourth day on our trip to Chattanooga took us from Goose Pond Marina to Shell Mound Campground. Our travels were 43.7 statute miles with an average speed of 7.5 miles per hour. We departed at 10:20 in the morning and arrived at 4:10 in the afternoon. It's late October, and at this time of the year, it's important to budget some extra time in the mornings in the event there is fog that will slow your departure. All the other mornings thus far, there has been too much wind for fog, but this morning we did have fog before we started out. We also found a layer of frost on the bow several mornings on this short side trip. Today we had our final lock on our side trip to Chattanooga. The Nickajack Lock lifted us a further 41 feet and was a relatively easy lift, bringing us up to the Nickajack Lake. Our anchorage was just around the corner from the lock. Shell Mound is what I would loosely describe as an anchorage, but was really just free docks. It is a campground with docks out front to tie off to. However, there were many opportunities to anchor in this area as well, in the event that the docks were full. The docks were in excellent condition with good water depth and several cleats to tie up to. We had 5 boats tied up to the docks the night we were there and could have easily handled a 6th boat. We had been very much looking forward to day 5, as we would go through some of the most beautiful territory and our timing would allow us to enjoy the fall colors. Today's travels were just 35.2 statute miles. We departed at 9:20 and arrived after a slower, more leisurely run at 2:30 p.m. However, due to today's time change, we really arrived at 1:30 p.m. Central. Nearing the end of this trip, we do go through what is called the Gorge, which is an absolutely stunning trip through the mountains of Tennessee. It was a lovely run through a wilderness of beauty, followed by the shock of coming back into civilization in Chattanooga with the interstate highway along the side of the river on our final approach. In total, we traversed 233.2 statute miles and will have retraced our steps back to Counce for a total of 466.4 statute miles on our side trip to Chattanooga. This trip was an enjoyable and nice break from the looper traffic on the rivers southbound to Mobile, Alabama. In many cases, we had the river to ourselves. We did see other loopers, either downbound on their return from Chattanooga or on their upbound voyages, but the pace was much more relaxed than the usual pace of loopers heading south.